Silent of goal! Lakewood are doing it! They're gonna take it! He's gonna bring down Burning. Alone with a double kill. Dropping fast. Monopoint's there. He's still alive! Wait, Oshek is late. He's got one side. He's got a second. He's taking it up. Oh my God! On three! They're all dead!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's the Summit 2 by G2A.com, and we are in the C qualifier, the round robin stage. It's only day number 2 here in the C region, and we've already had some exciting matchups for you tonight. And now we're excited to take it on home as we're in our 4th one. Another best of 1 now. It's going to be Mineski back, going against Johnny's Revenge. Mineski coming off that heartbreaking loss to Arrow Gaming. Would love to bounce back and get a win on their side. And for JR, they're already up 1 win here in their round robin stage, looking to just kind of keep on rolling. I am Kyle Guy bringing you the action, but joining me on my side, my virtual side, coming to me remotely, I guess you could say, it's Blaze. Blaze, how's it going, man? I hope you're able to truck on through and willing to take it home with me. How you doing?
Doing really well, man, especially with this matchup ahead of us. Johnny's Revenge is always a team that I love to see. Ever since I saw this roster and I looked at who was playing on it, this collaboration of 3 amazing teams and taking really the best of each one, in my opinion. So getting a really, really solid composition here. I'm looking forward to see how they continue their streaks. I mean, obviously they've had some ups and downs, but in the end, I would still list them in my top 3 for SEA right now, and I can't wait to see, even with the stand-in, what they can accomplish here. Now, Chibi X is not going to be performing today. It's going to be MLG22 going to be filling in, and yeah, we'll see exactly if he's going to be filling in that core role that Chibi usually runs, or if they're going to mix it up a little bit here. We have seen a little bit of winter support and stuff like that when push comes to shove. But for now, it's going to be 4 out of 5 on Mineski as well. Yaj, I'm not as familiar with, but we got to see him play the Bat Rider a little bit, and that's going to be banned out this time. So we will see something brand new from both sides.
I couldn't agree more about Johnny's Revenge. This team has shown a lot of promise. They were right there, neck and neck, in Star Ladder as far as getting into the top 3 and ended up being a tiebreaker series between themselves, Execration, and Titan Gaming, who are now, of course, Team Malaysia. And unfortunately, they did come short, and it was Execration to move on. But they are right up there and just still kind of find their own groove, build together their chemistry. And, well, trying not to be too biased, but, you know, good friend Winter has been a solid veteran for a long, long time and looking to bring it back on this team as he still has what it takes to play with the young ones, I guess you could say. Now they're going to go toe-to-toe with Mineski, and I already talked about how they're coming off their recent defeat. Would love to bounce back with the win here. So leading into the draft, Johnny's Revenge, they get a hold of their precious off-lane Santar Warrunner. They follow it up with your Vengeful Spirit, and a Skywrath Mage rounds out their support duo. And on the side of Mineski, they grab up for the, I think every game tonight we've seen a Brew. So a first pick Brew and a Rubik to follow it up second. So a nice, interesting Rubik grab without seeing really what's out there to, you know, offer as far as Rubik stealing potential. And then a Doom going to make his debut tonight or this morning, wherever you're coming from, as their 3rd pick for Mineski.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't ban out the Skywrath, though. In this situation, banning out the Bristleback is something that Mineski frequently does in the second phase just because they respect the hero a lot and what it can accomplish, usually in the off lane. But banning out the Ember Spirit on top, it's a good hero to have with a Vengeful Spirit, but not nearly as detrimental against Brewmaster as would be a Skywrath. With Vengeance Skywrath roaming about, you never know where they're going to hit from, and along with that, they have so much potential to lock you down, even when you're level 6. The Ancient Seal comes down, you get that silence, which will amplify the damage of a Magic Missile stun, and it's just going to be just this chain of disables. It's going to be very difficult to maneuver against the opposition early, and it's going to give the early advantage to Johnny's Revenge. From there, they have 2 more slots in the draft to really pump up their mid to late game, looking for most likely a solo mid pickup as well as their hard carry. Now, of course, they're up against the Doom, up against the Brew, so spellcasting and right-clicking both are things that are going to be hindered a little bit by those 2 heroes respectively. But still, a lot of options on the table, and we'll see what they pull out.
Indeed we will, and I can't always help but feel like Skywrath Mage has to be like an arch nemesis to Brewmaster. Just that pesky Ancient Seal, and holy moly, that's a Tinker! A Tinker post 6.82? Am I seeing things? This hero got hit so hard with the Nerf hammer, I don't know how he woke back up and got back into the hero pool. This is ridiculous. But hey, you know what? I guess anything is possible. This is coming out of left field. And going into a Doom, man, Blaze, what am I looking at right here? What is
Well,
this?
you're looking at a hero that's just really good at maneuvering against a Doom because of
10
his Blink
seconds
Dagger and
remaining.
maybe even later on a Bloodstone to get his second life up. And he's just
5
able to
seconds
really make a
remaining.
huge impact without right-clicking. So it's a great hero for Polosan to take to the mid lane as long as he's well
Reserve
supported.
time.
Vengeance and Skywrath have to not necessarily babysit, but very frequently visit and check in, make sure things are okay. So in this situation, Pulsan can pull ahead. He can do a lot of cool things. And I've even seen in 6.82 more recently a lot of Tinkers going for a build that doesn't include March of the Machines for an extended period of time. Like March is usually the go-to tool to farm up, but right now that only works in the Radiant and Dire jungle. It does not work on the Ancients. So all in all, 4400 is where it's at for me. And if he goes for the March to build up some stuff like the early BOTs, the early Blink, that's great too.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, I believe Tinker offers a lot of potential to a team. I don't think he's not maybe as dramatic to say he's a shadow of his one self, but we'll have to see. I mean, JR might have something up their sleeves to really make it work. But yeah, the hit about the composite damage being changed on the March is quite big for him. He can't just like move off to the side and get those Ancients to get those boots of travel quickly. And we'll see what they really decide to do with him here. And, you know, for the side of Mineski, I don't know if they're already planning on putting Doom in the off lane. If not, I would maybe consider something like a Clockwork who can
Dire
kind of
team
chase down your
ban.
pesky Tinker, or if they need if they switch it around a bit. But now with this Morphling grab, that changes things a bit. So Mineski now look to maybe pull out more of a late game, more building into endurance run here with this Morphling grab. So, you know, we'll
10
see how it ends up
seconds
working
remaining.
for him. Their fifth grab is going to try to round out the support duo, someone who can
5
try to
seconds
create
remaining.
space for this Morphling, not try to draw too much attention to him, and maybe offer a little extra
Reserve
help
time.
as far as sustain and durability. And, well, I don't know. For Johnny's Revenge, they already have the Centaur. I mean, we were talking about today here how much like an Elder Titan can offer going against your
Radiant
Morphling, but
team
now that's
ban.
out of the picture as far as off-lane potential. I'm really curious to see where we're going to go from here. It's going to be their late game and someone who they're going to have to rival against this Morphling, and it looks like Mineski
Dire
don't want to
team
be
pick.
contesting or going against the Faceless Void, and they do band it out there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways they can go with it. For right now, they actually have okay ways of dealing with the Morphlings since they have a lot of burst damage on 3 of their heroes. And they also have the Ancient Seal Silence, which can cause problems with toggling your Morph the way you want to. Either you leave it on too long because of the long duration silence, or you don't give it off at all because the silence will prevent you from activating it. In either case, that's going to be the
10
way to bring
seconds
down
remaining.
the Morphling, and he's going to have to be very careful about how he adjusts his
5
stats
seconds.
against this
5
bursty
seconds
lineup. But it
remaining.
also puts a point of emphasis on Tinker and how much tempo he gets in this early game. Johnny's
Reserve
Revenge
time.
really have to control that to get Tinker towards the Dagon, E-Blade type stuff a lot sooner, because without that, there's no way that they're going to be able to keep pace with the Morphling as far as what he can accomplish with his own shotgun. Anyways, they do have a hard carry role to fill, one that'll benefit from Stampede, one that'll keep pace with the Morphling. We've seen things like Mirana for tempo carries. I'm not sure if that would be appropriate here, but I'm trying to think. The big thing that makes it confusing for me is the fact that they don't have Chibi in their roster right
Radiant
now. Being
team
stood in
pick.
for, it's hard to talk about hero pools, and in this case, it looks like DK will be their final core pickup, but that would leave Tinker in the safe lane farm to really amp up
Yeah.
the tempo. And I guess it kind of follows the vein of thought that I was talking about, where they just make Morphling uncomfortable, shifting too much agility.
Yeah, this is, I mean, if I'm already feeling like a little perplexed as far as JR's game plan already, with now this last pick
10
Dragon Knight,
seconds
that shifts the
remaining.
lanes in my head that much more. I would imagine that
5
Mineski are
seconds
feeling the same way
remaining.
seeing that. But they got to round out their support, and if they wanted a little more sustain, I mean, they got Witch Doctor now. That Voodoo Restoration is a fantastic ability to have. Put that together with your cask, and you should have reasonable lockdown to work with. So they have that in Telekinesis as far as true stun, but not much else aside from that. And on the side of Johnny's Revenge, they have a lot of lockdown to work with. Your Dragon Knight, you know, obviously with his Dragon Tail, Vengeful Spirit, Magic Missile, Centaur Hoof Stomp, and Tinker, if he maybe, you know, gets to a point of a Sheepstick, could work out nicely. So, I mean, we'll have to see, man. This is a nice, funky, fresh lineup coming out from Johnny's Revenge, and I'm really curious to see. And it's none other than looks like Johnny who's going to be opting to take the reins of that Tinker. So this is going to be a fun one indeed, Blaze, as we're going to hop into game number 4 of tonight. Johnny's Revenge looking to hold on and take it to 2-0 here at the Summit 2 by G2A, and Mineski, who are down 1 game, looking to bounce back and get a victory on their belts here. And I just actually jumped at the camera. That's me in the dark. How you doing, everyone? But we're going to go right back into the game. I'll lead things off on your Radiant side. It's Mineski. And already heading towards the top lane, back on his support role. It's NMA playing your Rubik. Just behind, it's Jacko, who played a very, very nice Mirana, but couldn't quite pull it through for him. Now back playing this Morphling. We got Yaj, or YAJ. He's going to be playing your Doom. Javo, I believe, if I'm right. He's under the name of ... playing your Brewmaster. And right behind him, rounding things out, it's Jesse Vash, who's playing your Witch Doctor.
The Brewmaster is Joven, just for those that are wondering there. Yeah, it's so annoying that they play around their aliases like that, but... ... if you feel like calling him that way, I'm sure he deserves it. But yeah, Johnny's Revenge sticking it out. They really want to put a point of emphasis on the Tinker, make sure that he's going to be the anchor of their lineup, where they can really make sure that when he's involved in the fights, that's when they're winning. And from there, just try to avoid fights that they don't like to take, because the Stampede is really, really good here, to be honest. But yeah, we're going to see MLG 2-2 pick up the Dragonite in mid, already selecting the Breathe Fire, so we can't really expect a First Blood movement in the mid lane, because otherwise he would be holding that point for the potential Dragon Tail. Anyways, down bottom, it is going to be Sharky on that Vengeful Spirit. It is going to be Winter going on the Skywrath. I've seen him support a couple times. Obviously, he used to support a ton, but more recently, he's just been doing it on the occasion when there's a stand-in involved. The final selection here is going to be the Centaur Warrunner, played by Polasan. Since it seems they feel a little bit pressured, it means Polasan's going to be making his way up to the top lane.
And that leaves Johnny down here on your off-lane Tinker. Man, nope, he's going to be actually an aggressive tri-lane. I haven't seen this. I'm excited, though. I always welcome something new and fresh here, as Johnny's Revenge looking to pull out new tricks here up their sleeves here in the early laning phase, and we'll see how Mineski feel about this one, as it's going to be Doom trying to take on this tri-lane setup, and he's going to really have to double back here. He has a Centaur to choose from right there. That's a nice early grab, and the tomatoes ripe for the picking, I guess you could say, as he just grabs that one up. And we'll move on back here as Sharky is just immediately going aggressive, scouting out what the hell's happening over here. But speaking also of aggressive, you see the support duo here and their own aggressive off lane on the side of Mineski, taking it to the Centaur Warrunner. So both sides, you know, the Doom and the Centaur, going to have a bit of a trick here to try to get a hold of some early CS. Doom does get the benefit, though, from that Devour, so he might have a slight upper hand in this one.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing the bottle already come out for the Dragonite, using a couple of Breathe Fires there to get himself in the right direction, but 2-minute rune, we'll have to see who's contesting what. I assume JR is going to be getting some good control over the bottom spawn, and the top will be a little bit more up in the air. But right now, I think the big deal as far as early movement is trying to make sure that the supports get levels, because Rubik really needs a spell steal in this situation. If you're up against a Stampede, and all you've got is like a Brewmaster and a Doom, you're not actually going to be able to guarantee any kills, because they're just going to be moving away at max movement speed. But we are going to see some smoke movement come through. Unfortunately, not in range for that telekinesis. Only 550 cast range at level 1. And they don't want to go on the DK. He's just a little bit too tanky, and even pulling him down into the river, it would be a dangerous proposition going up against him at full HP.
Both teams swing and miss on their first and very early rotation. You know, VS moving through was properly scouted out there from Yaj on the Doom. He pinged it out. That left Morphling to stand firmly back in defensive position, and then quickly came in. But top lane, as they move up to the top, it's Centaur to greet him at the top of the staircase, but he gets thrown right back, and unfortunately now under pressure is Rubik. He gets hoof stomped down, sliced up. There's your first blood. It's grabbed up by Sharky, and here comes Brew. Jumps in with his own clap. He wants blood, and he gets it. They fire back, 1-1. Off to the races we go in this. Nice action-packed start. It doesn't stop there. Jesse Vatch now under pressure. Has actually the early Maldic right there. Throws it on Winter. He goes down. Now Winter under pressure, and Winter goes down. Jesus Christ, both teams going back and forth. We're not done yet, folks. NMA comes in, eats his magic missile, and finally, we'll see a calm of the storm right there. Both teams happy to go toe-to-toe. Both teams well aware of what's happening. Before that action broke out, both of them had rotated to the mid lane. Both of them couldn't find the opportunity, but then just hell broke out up there on the top.
Yeah, just absolute madness back and forth. I mean, the stun's coming out. Cask is really good in the jungle, but there were so many neutrals that it didn't really get what it wanted out of that. The RNG was still on their side, though, when it came to the Brewmaster, who's now being gone out with a lot of magical nuke damage. Just going to take another shot. The concussive slows him, but it's
Oh, what a telekinesis. Great move there from NMA. Throws him up and stuns the other two from being able to move in and get that extra lick in. And it is Brewmaster promptly pulls out the salve. It does get taken down, but that's enough for him to kind of live on. And he's already hustling back towards the fountain to get that resources back. This top lane, man, it just doesn't let up. And one, I'm going to have to keep my camera on, or else I'm going to miss some action real quick. A brief pause, a brief apology right there out from Johnny, and we get back and underway.
Yep, back into it. Obviously, the Brewmaster's already done really well for himself getting those 2 early kills. He actually got a double crit, which is really hard to do because, of course, the first one's guaranteed, but the other one is 10%. So that, with a little bit of salve action to disengage with the help of his Rubik buddy, he's sitting high and dry at 2-0, and he's ready to brawl again at full HP. Bottom room will be picked up by Johnny. He was actually doing a really good job of edging out the Doom. Yaj actually had to pop his level 1 Scorch Earth just to survive and get out of that laser health threshold range. But now the Witch Doctor's there to help him out, and 2v1, they are kind of limiting his progression. Still 18-5, though.
So they go back and resort on the side of Mineski to their 2-1-2 ways as they bring Witch Doctor back to the bottom. Can't allow this Tinker to get a whole lot going, but, well, he is king of CS right now, 19-5, with the Morphling just behind him in that mid lane. He's outclassing DK only by a smidgen. So relatively even from there, but top lane is where all that action has been. And like you said, Brew's been the one on top there, picking up 2 big kills. He's 15-5, and, well, he eats a hoof stomp. Fallen in, Ancient Seal, concuffs is slow. He's not going to be lucky this time as he goes down. Rubik tries to show up with a telekinesis, but it's going to be to no avail. So just as I give this Brew pops, the caster's curse is real, I guess, because I jinx him. He goes down.
Yeah. I've never seen such a hard farmed support Venge right now. He only has 1 CS, but because he's 3-0, he has the Arcane Boots, he has some wards, he has TP and Smoke coming out. Like, Sharky's able to make a lot happen here, and with Winter's mana sustained by the Arcanes as well, they can start to roam on mid a lot more. But down bottom was where the action is. Johnny trying to juke and jive, but in the end, the Hellbear Clap comes through, and the right click should be able to finish him off. But as I say that, oh, there's the cast.
Oh. Tried to squeeze through those creeps, but still in range was the cask, and that damn Witch Doctor gets it out there, and it leaves up perfectly for Doom to get the right click in, and we're back to even, boys. 3-3 here. A nice early barn burner from both sides. I love the aggression. Sometimes the slow-paced games, though not aesthetically pleasing and more technical to appreciate, sometimes you got to have a good bar brawl, and it's looking pretty promising. We got a kill a minute happening right now, and we'll have to see as JR with their obscure Johnny Hufflane Tinker comes back from recent death, heads back towards the bottom. He's got 1,200 gold. He's probably just going to save right up for those boots of travel. But look at this early movement coming in from Mineski. Smoked up. Sharky and Winter nearby on the other side. Mineski now going to just leave their Jacko in the mid lane. He's got to be careful. They're creeping on in. Winter leads off the charge here. Nice Dragon Tail catching him on top of the cliff. Ancient Seal. Here comes the burst. Oh! They don't get him at the end. He waveforms out.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they had a magic missile. They did already invest it, so he just lives on through and just shuffles all the way back to the base. That belt doing in work, I guess, for him there at the end.
Yeah, he was able to get the Strength Morph off just before the Ancient Seal came through. The Dragon Tail kind of gave him an indication of what was going on, and the Seal was just a moment too slow from Winter. So in the end, they weren't able to pick him off with that, and yeah, he was able to pull through with the rest of it. So good damage. Good attempt, but in the end, it's just not enough, even with the magic missile. But we still are seeing a lot coming out for JR across the board. I mean, their net worths are showing to be progressing very rapidly. The Tinker is going to be able to farm up quite a bit. And there's one thing that I want to mention real quick is inside the Radiant jungle, they're stacking hard. They've got this northeastern camp stacked up to 2, it looks like. It was 3 before, but a couple cleared out from the Devourers. And then on the western side, they got a couple stacks. Those could be hijacked very easily by a hero like Dragonite or Tinker. So they've got to make sure they keep control of that in order to obviously gain what they've tried so hard to earn.
And we'll see if they do that. Right now, they're clearing out the small side camp here. JR takes that away. Doom is just locked
bottom tower is under attack.
And left out the bottom lane. And is now flirting around the top river area. They've left Witch Doctor down here. Jesse Vatch is watching his tower eat early harassment and really just going to have to plant himself and soak the XP from afar to not reveal himself because he can't see those supports roaming around from JR as they now make their
Radiant's
appearance
bottom tower
here at the
is
bottom
under
near that
attack.
illusion rune that's just spawned conveniently from MLG 2-2 to show up and take it right up into his reins. He's level 7, working towards his level 8. He
Dire's
got some
middle
early
tower
hits in on
is
that
under
tier 1
attack.
tower in the mid lane with his dragon
Radiant's bottom
form, and now he
tower
goes
is
towards
under
the
attack.
bottom. But top lane here, we got Centaur, who's trying to save up his money, and Brew might feel confident if they want to move on in. Doom has Doom. Pulls out the Stampede and doubles back. They're not going to commit and do the
Radiant's
dive at
bottom
that
tower
moment.
is
Maybe
under
fear
attack.
some of a rotation to come in, and they'll just kind of wait it out for now. And Centaur puts himself also way into a corner, and we'll see if they decide to go on in. His bottom lane, it's pretty much the same story. DK's unlaying into this tower
structures
right
are
now,
fortified.
and this will promptly
Dire's
fall
top
right now as they
tower
do
is
not have
under
the
attack.
fortification.
Radiant's bottom tower.
The
is
tower
under
will drop
attack.
down to the Tinker. Very important that
Radiant's
he's the one to
bottom
pick it
tower
up.
has
And
fallen.
honestly, it's passivity from here. MLG 22 is going to be teleporting to the mid lane. We'll get maybe 1 or 2 corrosive attacks onto the mid tier 1. But otherwise, yeah, they're just kind of disengaging
Dire's
from this
top
point
tower
forward. The
is
tier
under
1
attack.
top will be falling shortly. It
Radiant's
looks like
middle
Morphin's the
tower
one they
is
want to
under
give it to.
attack.
And it's actually going to Brood that has to claim it.
Dire's
Now
top
Bruce says
tower
anything
has
about it.
fallen.
He's like, that's
He's
mine.
got the blink dagger.
I want
off
to get
of
my
that,
blink
so that's
dagger.
really nice.
So they get it. Boots of Travel already going to work. Tinker shows up to the mid lane. They get some hits in on this tier 1 tower, which is now very low, but it's going to be within deny range, so they'll be able to clear out these creeps, and they will be able to deny it. Finally, Witch Doctor arises from the corner and goes
Radiant's
right
middle
towards
tower
Sharky. He's like,
has
oh,
been
crap!
denied.
I got to get the hell away from here as he runs into the support. He needs to move his way out. Johnny shows up, lasers him in the backside, and who else but Winner to come in from the front and, like... He just waited so long in that little forest corner, and by the time he finally emerges to the light, he just gets taken down immediately. Real unfortunate right there. But here we go. Johnny gets jumped on from that new Blink Dagger, but he does make a swift escape. He will not have the mana to commit on a Primal Split and try to take down that Tinker.
Yeah, his movements very recently have been quite awkward. He was roaming around towards the mid lane, trying to
Dire's
find that
middle
smoke
tower
opportunity. Then
is
he went
under
up
attack.
top and was going to go for the Doom on Centaur, and still the Stampede came out. And obviously, you can't really do anything to a hero without having the mana pool for both Doom and Ensnare. So in that position, yeah, he gets a hand of Midas very late. He doesn't really show that safe lane Doom prowess, and I'm worried that he might not be able to progress towards a real carry state for a long time. It's going to be more on the shoulders of Morphling as well as Brewmaster, and obviously we see that there's plenty on JR's side to try to answer that one back.
They're going right for DK, but that Stampede, man, already putting in the time to help him out. He gets doomed up and he quickly retreats out, and the convenient supports nearby do come to his aid. This level 1 Doom is not going to be taking down Dragonite. Very, very tanky. 2 levels in Dragon's Blood. And you got to remember, if I know correctly there, Blaze, as my top lane, I quickly see Centaur will fall there into the hands of the Witch Doctor and the Brew. I saw the very back end of that one as they even it up 4-4. But I'm not going to stop yet as Doom checks out bottom lane, sees Johnny, but he does not have Doom. But what I was going to say is now that he dooms out Dragonite, and with his recent change with passives being able to work, Dragon's Blood does work, if I'm correct, right?
I don't think it was
I hate to
negated
throw a mechanics
previously,
question in
honestly.
your lap.
Oh no, I'm love mechanics. I'll examine that stuff all day long. But I don't think Dragon's Blood was negated in the first place, to be honest with you. The frost effect from the other blue dragon was negated, as well. But the cleave stayed, and then the Dragon's Blood and obviously his spellcast. That's the only thing that's different. So yeah, I don't think it's really a different state of affairs between the Doom, whether or not he has Aghanim Scepter, against him particularly. Obviously, it would be a different story against a lot of other heroes, but in this game, I don't really feel like he's that worse off. In fact, Dragonite, if he popped his Dragon form, in general, in my mind, was the second worst Doom target next to Razor, who gets his Idle Storm off.
They jump in, they find Sharky, they take down Sharky as he has to
Radiant's
swim with the
top
fishes
tower is
now
under
in the
attack.
top of the river as he just goes down. Promptly so to the hands of Mineski as they shift their 4th-man squad here back up towards the top. They ping out MLG. They'd love to get him, and he knows trouble's coming, so he just promptly leaves out. Tries to get what damage he can on that tier 1. Bottom lane is Johnny, though. He's doing those Tinker things. I guess hashtag Tinker things, if that was such a thing, as he starts marching in and adding pressure on the bottom. And
Radiant's bottom tower
he can
is
still
under
use
attack.
those sweet, sweet machines to just farm up the enemy jungle right from middle court right there. Meanwhile, mid lane, They're considering make it go. Very low Centaur does slip away. They return fire there on your Witch Doctor. Stampede will get them back as Morphling would have loved to swim in there and get something else. Boozadravel does
Radiant's top tower is
touch
under
the
attack.
idea of maybe committing to the mid lane, but Johnny will not pull the trigger on that one. Meanwhile, top lane, Dragon Knight might be caught out here. Nope, never mind. Yep, nope, never mind. And again, as they do push on forward, Doom can't quite catch up. He does have Doom in his pocket ready to pull out, but cannot find the target.
Yeah. Just double checking here, just so everybody kind of concisely understand what I was saying there. Elder Dragon Form's Frost attack is disabled if Doom has Aghanims, but everything else behaves normally, and yeah, the Dragon's Blood remains intact, so I don't even think he should be dooming the Dragon Knight this game. Tinker is generally going to be the one that he's looking to, and obviously with or without Ags, that's going to be limiting for him, because he loves to spam out his items, he loves to spam out his spells, and that's not going to be on the table for him during that effect. But
Radiant's
still,
bottom
Doom is
tower
progressing
is
towards
under
this item
attack.
build that I've kind of started to really dislike. Mechanism and Tranquil Boots on Doom. You look at his mana pool, he barely has enough mana for 2 spells as it is, so he's going to get the Doom up onto Dragon Knight, and with the lockdown from the Brew and the Rubik, it should be enough to at least force a deny. We'll see.
Oh, Johnny
There it is.
got it! Nice! Nice, nice, nice. Johnny from the north gets the lingering auto attack, and Dragon Knight will get denied right there. And Mineski just kind of take it up as a, you know, the core will fall, they pull on back. It's a job well done for them, but they don't get as much out of it as they ideally probably would have wanted. And now we have Sharky here, scouting out, seeing if maybe Johnny can bait in some aggression, and he'll be able to be there. As it is Morphling, though, coming in from the north, might catch Sharky from behind. He needs to be careful about this one. They do ping it out. They have the ward that sees it right there. Sharky throws out a wave of terror and says, "Get away from me!" And we'll jump off to the left.
Up top, the Death Ward comes out, and the Stampede is almost enough for the Centaur to get away, as he usually is a really good hero against the Witch Doctor, but a quick blink and crit clap coming out from Joven is just barely enough to put him back in his place, and yeah, the Centaur will die once more. So 3 deaths for the Centaur in this early stage. It's kind of surprising, considering usually you would look at the Stampede here and say, okay, that's enough to get anybody out of it. Just a little bit too much damage going his way, and in the end, he falls again. So he definitely needs to build up his tank here.
Yeah, he is trying to get something after he'd already completed his goal set of grabbing that Blink Dagger, which he was successful with, but now grabs his Tranquils and needs a little more meat on the bones. There's this big bad boy Centaur. Well, farming up the woods and all these sweet stacks is Johnny. Those supports have really been putting in overtime right now in this game. They have been all over the map, you know, Skywrath Mage, the Vengeful Spirit, and they've also been finding some stacks along the way for their precious Tinker to continue bringing it in. He gets his own Blink Dagger now. He has his core foundation. Meanwhile, mid lane, they jump in Centaur. Telekinesis up. And, well, that Mystic Flare not going to be happening too much, but he still goes down. Bursted apart right there. It's Witch Doctor, though, to get the kill with that Maldic. And now Sharky trying to get away. Nope. Gets bolted right there. Caught out. Morphling should be able to pick it off, but nope. Rubik gets it off with the Fade Bolt. Jumping up and above. It is Johnny who does get away. The Blink Out and the Boots of Travel does save him from further damage. So a nice turnaround there for Mineski as they take down 2 in what could have been a very, very sticky situation for him. It's 9-5 still. Advantage them as far as kills, but Mineski are not holding a big net worth lead. Those kills do help, but Johnny continues to farm up on this Tinker. And I'm really curious to see how he's going to decide to build it on up from here. If he does decide to go with the lockdown and go with an early Sheep Stick, if he is going to just try to go shotgun to shotgun with Morphling, let's say, and gets the F-Blade and the Dagon, the heavy burst, we'll see, as it's been something that could be very different than what we're come to used to. So my mind is open, and yeah, that smoke, that's not going to work because there's an Invis Doom right there, boys.
Yep, and they knew that he
like,
was...
Wait, what?
Winter was getting body blocked by him a little bit earlier when they were considering going on the Skywrath, and he pinged it out, but even still, they were hoping that he wouldn't have made his way between the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 tower at that time, and they were hoping to get a sneak attack off, but in the end, doesn't go in their favor. I don't know, looking at the last fight, that mechanism really helped Yaj survive, but looking at the mana pool, like he has 440, he has enough mana for Doom, Mech, and that's it, unless he has Magic Stick charges to give him a Scorched Earth. What are your opinions on it right now?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I mean, based on even just that fact alone, it's a bit tricky. I mean, I'm looking around to see, there is Arcanes on Brew that could help him out, but that means they have to be by their side, and Brew's one to normally jump in and make plays, so it's going to be a bit finicky as far as they go, and now he's
tower
committing
is
for a
under
Midas.
attack.
This is another step away
Radiant
from an item that could be
structures
very
are
valuable to
fortified.
him, and we'll see how much he can use these items in defenses like this. As there's going to be a lot of pressure here at the top lane. Dragon Form's already going to town. They just have to hand it over.
Radiant's
They can't
top
really do
tower
anything
has
about it
fallen.
for now. So as it stands, while Doom just continues to farm it up, he's just walking, adding a little bit of support and utility with the mechanisms and a Doom. But when those are down or he doesn't have the mana, he's not going to be offering a whole lot. But there's your jump, and they want to get a whole Centaur. There's that Doom, though. Mystic Flare return! Oh, and the Ancient Seal almost takes him all the way down as he can't get Primal Split, but he does manage to walk away from it very nicely. And, well, here comes Witch Doctor. Would love to get a nice cast off right here, but they can't quite catch up. Almost got very ugly real quick for Brew as he almost got bursted down. Had that maybe been the old 6.81 Skywrath Mage with the initial damage burst that it used to have by a difference of, I think it was like 0.25 seconds or something, it could have been very different, but that alone might have just saved him.
Yeah, 0.2 seconds, so it's 10% slower on its damage per second, and yeah, that's going to be the kind of a make or break point. The Doom didn't have mana for the mechanism. That would have also made it a lot less close, but yeah, in this position, I think I really would love to see the Doom have a Blink Dagger. Like, Blink Doom against the Tinker, they have to realize that that's the most important part of JR's lineup. They invested so much into building him up, but you get one Doom off, and that 9,000 net worth means absolutely nothing. So we'll see Tinker finding that Dagon. Probably not Force Staff, probably Dagon very shortly, and yeah, we'll see if the Doom is going to be quick enough on his feet to counteract that.
So now I have an item build question for you since you asked me about the Doom. We got a Shadow Blade in the works for MLG 22 on your Dragon Knight. Actually, it's now complete. So this is an item that's seen more often in pubs for sure. Was built up for quite a while, but I haven't seen a whole lot. They like to go more tanky, maybe just get that BKB straight out, but I guess when you're going against a Doom, but we already talked about how he might not be the best Doom target. I don't know, man. Do you think there's some better perks for this item as opposed to the cons?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the best Shadow Blade patch in general. The item has seen better days, but all the same, there's no invisibility on JR. So if they want to force Mineski to buy detection on heroes that want to get things like Blink Dagger and Aghanim Scepter up, then that's going to tax them a little bit more. And if you get just a couple of surprise kills on it, it usually pays for itself. So you surprise somebody, you get Tinker BOTing behind a DK who's sneaking up with a Shadow Blade, you get that stun, you get that nuke, and you get a kill. Yeah, it seems pretty well worth it. It just has to catch the enemy off guard, as we see.
Ooh, he puts it to use right here. They don't have that detection, so that could have been a very hairy situation, but because of that recent fancy sword, they actually turn it back, jump in, quickly burst down two! Fantastic turnaround play. That Shadow Blade going to work right there, boys. JR quickly grab a hold of the Doom and the Rubik, forcing the rest
Radiant's
of Mineski to
bottom
pull
tower
on
is
back
under
as they
attack.
see aggression coming their way, and this allows them to just move on through the bottom lane tier 2, trying to take as much advantage of this level 2
Radiant
Dragon Form as
structures are
possible.
fortified.
Yeah, and another big deal is
Radiant's
catching
bottom
the
tower
Morphling
is
off
under
guard.
attack.
Right now, he has a BKB, so he's going to nullify a lot of what's coming forth, like Mystic Flare, if he's not hard stunned. And you can definitely see a Stomp coming. You can usually see a Dragon Knight stun
Radiant's
coming.
bottom
So
tower
if you
has
have the
fallen.
surprise factor, and you can get a stun on him before the BKB comes out, that's going to enable you to actually deeps on the Morphling. Otherwise, you're missing out on a lot, like we see up here on the top lane.
Oh, race for the rune. Oh my god!
No,
The
that's
slaughter, the burst. Put it in the books, boys. Morphling is down. He just idly moving by like, oh, nice convenient rune for me, no problem. But then quickly realizes there's an invisible dragon man nearby, and he goes down. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Mystic Flare going to work, takes down that Doom. They want more. Swap back Rubik. See you later. Winner with a double kill grab right there for JR, and they're looking fantastic. They're taking this game back, and well, they need a pause and a huddle or just a bit of a moment to kind of recollect what the hell's happening as they now push ahead for the first time in the game 10-9, and that net worth graph begins to drop hard, cliffhanger style. 2K now back in their core.
You pick up just a single
Radiant's
Dagon
bottom
1
tower
on
is under
Johnny, and
attack.
suddenly all hell breaks loose. Their entire lineup was about getting that extra little Now they've got Double Edge, Breathe
Dire's
Fire,
top
and
tower
Dagon
is under
Laser.
attack.
They have just so much burst on every one of their heroes.
Radiant's
We're going to
bottom
see
tower
an
is
attempt to counter initiate, but a nice silence coming in from Winter. Still the Death Ward flies.
Winner, what a player on this Skywrath Mage, man. Since the beginning of the game, he has been putting it in, and they don't even falter one moment. And Johnny will fall right there. He gets slapped in the back as Tinker goes down. But still, be able to hold your own like that when it was supposed to be strong defense coming out from Mineski, they still take more casualties. Fantastic quick reaction for that Ancient Seal is what helped that one. 12 to 11, they still pull ahead. It only ends up being a 2-for-2 trade on the end of that one, but still. Now JR, new wealth of gold coming their way. It looks like Gloves of Haste you can purchase here for Dragon Knight. I imagine this is going to be the early makings of the Maelstrom for him. I would hope so, at least, unless it's going to be some sort of crazy Midas late, but more than likely, the Maelstrom grab right there as he continues to farm up at the top. You know, Johnny does go down, but he had gotten his Dagon leveled up to 2 now, so he's just going to build that and then probably go with the Athletic Show after. But mid lane, this Mystic Flare, he's trying to morph up. He's got the BKB, but he's not going to be able to go far. That swap back right there from Sharky says no, but look at this guy. Comes in, combo breaker. I guess 6 to the Brew, jumps in, claps them all back, and they don't like that, so they quickly pull back just in time to save their Morphling brother.
Yeah. Once the Morphling gets the BKB off, he should not die. Bottom line is this hero has 4 defensive abilities, potentially, and there's no reason that he should be dropped down that quickly while his BKB is active. You remember the Tinker, with the change from Universal to Magical Damage in the March, he is 100% countered by BKB, and honestly, a lot of the rest of the abilities of JR are as well. So, we even see, like, Sharky, he knows that like their physical damage isn't strong, so you look at his skill build 4-1-2. He's not really emphasizing physical output other than the medallion, and that just goes to show that he just has a lot of confidence in them just getting a quick burst combo to single people out.
That smoke in, they know something's happening over here. They're jumping on through. They want to quickly take down the supports, but he gets caught out. Ancient Seal, Mystic Flare gonna zone him back, but Winter does end up going down. A very low Brew with no split to fall back on. Makes his escape just right there to the south. If they take down Centaur as well, it's still a 2-for-0 here, and they're on hot pursuit. They would love to take down MLG 22 right now. A jumping clap, very ballsy play coming out from the Brew right here. There's your adaptive strike, catches him on the back. He continues to bottle up. One more second. He's got the Shadow Blade.
Are you kidding me? That should not happen.
No detection to scout it out. Oh,
I drop
boy,
one
oh
sentry
boy.
and he walks away from it. It's just like, okay.
Well, Mineski are like, maybe we could
tower
consider
is under
doing
attack.
Roche. I mean, we've taken that one. He is going to be back shortly, so they kind of second-guess what they want to do. 2 sentries back-to-back here in the bottom river area, but no extra ones available to scout out that Dragon Knight, and he just makes his safe escape. So JR do lose a little, but they could have lost a whole lot more.
On the mid lane, Jocko got a little bit too big for his britches under the tier 1. Johnny put him in his place and forced another BKB charge. Although he doesn't get the kill, dwindling down this BKB down towards 5 seconds is going to be immense for enabling their team to just bring him down time and time again. Like, he's building up a stat-based item, the Ultimate Orb, and that'll be great when he gets it, but because he picked up this BKB as his first major item, and he's having to use it every fight, any time that he's forced to pop it is just going to make it less and less useful as time goes by.
We'll see. He's still putting in the mileage here on this Tinker, bottom lane. Continues to build on up. Getting closer to getting that level 3 rearm if he does want to grab it. Very mana consuming. He doesn't like quickly build up the Dagon and some additional intel items from this point on, but he farms out the rest of the creeps. Mineski move once again as a group, feeling like maybe JR are considering another go at the Roche, but they might cross paths here. Jumping out in the front. Nice quick blink away, though. Centaur, nice steal back. The hoof stomp, not going to catch him, but they do catch him with the Doom. Death Ward to drop, and Centaur will fall for his efforts. A quick reaction play right there. Helps Mineski out, and they take down the Initiator on the side of JR.
Yeah, they force him back, but without a Doom for the next 80 seconds, what can they do to stop this Tinker? Like, they've got Telekinesis, and that's about it. So they still are kind of unwary about the current state of affairs. Their lane's being pushed out. They don't have any real kill potential. So we're going to see at least the Blink Dagger picked up from the Rubik. It has come at the cost of like Dust of Appearance and stuff like that, but finally he does find it. So at the very least they have some potential for maybe using this Hoof Stomp that he recently stole, or just getting the jump on one of his opponents.
And we'll see if he can put it to use right there. I mean, you're right. He's got Hoof Stomp available. I mean, being an Initiator as a Rubik's not always the best, as you might throw yourself into the flames, but we'll see if they use it to the benefit for maybe a secondary follow-up right now, as 3 of JR here are looking to clean up a nice stack here on the Ancient Pit, handing that over to MLG, who farms it up promptly. So still looking to commit to a secondary item. Actually, it might be on this courier. What is coming his way? There's the Maelstrom. It's now complete. So we'll get a hold of that. Going to add a little more extra pushing power, a little extra wave clearing. So very nice grab right there for your Dragon Knight, but we'll see. You know, you already have your Morphling, who's been had to early commit to his BKB, not your traditional Lincolns, just because of that Tinker. But mid lane, they're making it go in right now. MLG gets away, but they drop a sentry, so they'll see him right there, and he walks out of the
They have
detection
exactly
range.
one sentry, and they drop it here of all places. That's... I'm sorry, but that is not...
A little too close to home if you're thinking that he's just going to kind of stay right by you.
Invisibility
Put
equals
that to better
immortality
use.
right now. Invulnerability, rather. It's just... It's too much.
We'll see. But I'm more curious if the rest of Mineski are going to consider building up a BKB, and I guess I'm right, as there's your Yaj. He's got his Ogre Club. He would love to get a hold of that extra survivability and not allow this Tinker to just ball out of control. And Brewmaster as well. I mean, he's got 2.4k, but it looks like he's already on the path of this Agnum Scepter, which I've already said once and twice, 3 times, but we'll see if it's going to be the wise choice for him. BKBs, I think the more the merrier would definitely be to their benefit. Even though there is a VS there to swap it on back, it could render the Winter Skywrath Mage, you know, the Dragon Tail stun, and of course anything Johnny has on his Tinker useless for the duration of the BKB.
So Jocko just popped his BKB on bottom lane for absolutely no reason. So he's down to 7 seconds now. It really feels like the entire team's on tilt at this point. Like, they know they're under the gun, quite literally up against this Tinker, and it's just going to get worse if they keep playing like this.
Oh man, yeah, the tilt is real. They'd come off a staggering defeat to Arrow in the previous game, and we're really hoping to get control in this one and bring it on out, going against JR, who are using a stand-in, but they're going to have to put a lot in their Morphling basket for this one in hopes that he can bring it on back, but he doesn't quite have the stats build up you'd like to have at this point, so he's got a long road ahead of him to try to contest as JR just continue to make it work. And they have all the tools they can want to add pressure all over. Johnny is still putting in the mileage, whether it's Dagoning creeps, dropping March, hopping back, moving on through. This is a hero that can make your hand cramp just watching. So he'll just continue to make it work. Mid lane, he starts to lay down that early foundation of March. And Mineski continue to try to grab another tower. They've only taken 1 tier 2 thus far. So there's a lot of gold on the field for them to take, but they just can't quite grab it.
Yeah, not just yet. We're seeing Mineski move together. Obviously, Jocko is off on his own, but he's got the replicant ready, so he can jump into any point in time. And they're going to look to go on to MLG 22. Now, they do have 1 Sentry Ward on the Witch Doctor, but he's not a hero that really leads the charge. He's got 355 movement speed. Sentry Ward has limited range. He's dropping 1 down to D Ward, and they're going to actually miss out on that ward just by 100 units at most. But yeah, in the end, they're not going to really be able to put any pressure at all on this Dragonite, and their lanes are always going to be pushed in.
Yep, and for JR, they were considering a smoke advancement into the jungle, but looks like their eyes are on this Morphling who has no detection. He jumps in. They get scouted out. There's good stuff follow-up. Dragon Tail, Mystic Flare. Morphling can try to morph all he wants, but it is just too hot and heavy right there. Fantastic assistance coming in. The Centaur jump in. The follow-up from Winter makes it work, but here we go. Firing back. They take down Johnny, but they get redemption immediately, bursting down that Witch Doctor, making it a 2-for-1 now, and they want more. Polson pulls out his own BKB, trying to chop it on these bears. MLG comes down from the Cyclone, but he gets doomed up and latched down to the earth as he tries to fight and bounce back. He's getting down quickly here, and he will fall as he cannot get away. Now Sharky trying to straggle back right now. It's 2 for 2. Mineski might be able to come out on top of this one, and they do slash her home, make it a 3 for 2 at the end of it. So they do bounce back still. Polson in the neighborhood here. You got to go home, buddy. Oh, tossed up and back. Hoofstop stolen. He gets his own off. Goes for a slash. There's a Hoofstop return. A taste of your own medicine, sir. And there it is. It's Yaj who picks up the last hit. Make it 4. Mineski with a prime jump back. All that revenge just for losing their morph.
4,700 gold. Like, obviously not all at once. He had a little bit before he started, maybe 2K.
Holy crap.
But now he's got Agadim's plus 1,700. Like, he just got 2 big kills, 1 big assist, and he's right back in this game.
That rubber band is very much real, folks. The numbers have been tweaked, but there you go. Look at the bounce back is Mineski, as he will finish out those Ags and maybe start building up a BKB himself. We'll have to see what he decides to do. Even he's probably looking at like his pocket like, wow, there's a lot of gold. He actually just goes flat out for the BKB. I think that's a smart choice right there. And now he can move on forward and finish out that Ags if he wants, but that is a crucial item to have and a better tool for the next upcoming team fight. And JR, that was a very hard fight for them to hand over. I mean, they got the Morphling, which is great, but now they just handed a whole lot to everyone else on the side of Mineski.
It just came down to positioning. Johnny was trying to cover the full retreat, be the last man to pass through if Morphling was trying to get away, but as a result, he was the furthest forward for the rest of Mineski to initiate on. So when they start a fight by picking off Tinker, that's a fight they're going to win, unless JR are able to fully retreat out from a Stampede, and even then, that's a nice little pick for them. So in this position...
They jump in and, well, Witch Doctor's gone. That didn't take a whole lot as they get another fantastic start from Centaur. Winter just always right there. He's like hanging in the mezzanine, if you will. The Skywrath Mage just dropping down Mystic Flares at the right time. And they followed up so well. The team just showing that chemistry and that fluidity, working overtime as they clean up another, taking down that little support Witch Doctor. And now with advantage in numbers, we'll see what the next step is. There's
Radiant's
still a
top
Roche
tower
for
is
grabs.
under
It's
attack.
just in this new spot, though, it's just always so questionable when the right time is to make that kind of commitment. They do have Sharky, who already has the wave plus Medallion, so they have plenty of minus armor to try to rip it down quickly, but it looks like they're not going to consider making a go at it just yet. They'll just take the one takedown and kind of move on to the next step.
Yep, we're going to see the Lincoln Sphere come out very shortly for the Morphling here. It is on the Quarry, the recipe that is. So Jocko will be able to survive against Dragon Knight's initiation from this point forward. Like, he should be able to get the BKB off in all of his fights. He won't be caught off guard that heavily. That said, it's only a 7-second BKB, and once that expires, he's kind of fish food for the rest of JR. But at least it'll give him some reaction time. So that's a nice interval there, and Maelstrom no longer breaks it, so that's also very nice. As far as the Tinker's on progression, he's going to go straight from his Dagon 5 into the Bloodstone, and I definitely think this is the best way he can go. Since he did go for the third point in rearm, and you now have a Dagon that costs 180 mana at every use, instead of the 100 that it would be.
Centaur, what are you doing? You are far past home, dude. Oh, he does manage to blink away. Oh, is he going to get out? He does. Wow. He gets out. Rubik can't quite get there or something to get the telekinesis off.
Oh,
he somehow slips away.
Yeah, he still has BKB up, so they have to do physical damage just to finish him off, and not going to happen. So, still kind of unnecessary, but... Oh, Johnny up top. That's huge.
Johnny... He's not going to be so lucky. He doesn't have the golden ticket, the golden BKB to get away from this one. Oh my god, I was going to say. Tries to play a little cheeky play around the tree, but he can't quite slip out from that one, so they do lose Johnny. Winter catches out Doom. Doom is so slow. He eats up big damage. Pops out his BKB a little late there at the end. Witch Doctor, he's taking big brute force, but he slams down the Death Ward, and they manage to burst down the Dragon Knight. So, my goodness, Blaze. JR... We're looking really good for quite a while there, but Mineski now have taken two big fights back-to-back in their favor. His graph is slowly flying right back up, and the items are slowly coming into their pockets as Morphling's completed his survivability set and has near 2k gold to invest now into big damage. And that, with that said, they'll just hold this momentum, move right into the Roche pit, and go right for the Aegis.
Yeah, this stand-in is looking a little less like MLG 2-2 and a little bit more like ML3 2-2. This is really bad. The throw is pretty huge right now, where they're just giving up so many easy picks. I mean, the Centaur didn't actually go down, but he didn't need to be in an extended position like that. Johnny and then the Dragon Knight getting picked off just back to back. It just gives Mineski that complete control of the game back, and it's going to be another really hard hill to climb.
Oh man, Johnny was waiting on the cliff, and he gets spotted out. They jump him and take him down immediately. Oh, Johnny, trying to get a bird's eye view of what the hell's happening, and he gets a 3D show of them coming right in his face, and he goes down immediately. Centaur trying to be cheeky down there and do a bit of side push himself, promptly pulls out, but Mineski still happy to hold on to this strong turn back of a game. They grab that Aegis. It goes, of course, towards Jacko. And, well, I don't know here. If you're JR, you got to really try to shake this one off and try to make a comeback here, because their late game is not nearly as good. It will not match up to this Morphling. If MLG is supposed to be the one to try to bring the game back, and maybe Johnny adding pressure elsewhere, it's not looking good right now, Blaze. It's looking like this Morphling will be able to get to a point where he could just take home the W for his team.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked so damn strong when they were pushing in, when they had the Dagon play where they picked up the tier 2 and just kept the kills rolling, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough when it came down to them spreading the map. They got a little greedy here and there, and it just got very bad for them since then. I mean, the DK's still at an okay spot, Tinker's at an okay spot, but they're not late game right now. They are mid game, can put out nice pressure, but they're not breaking anybody open. And until the Morphling gets caught out again and his BKB gets lowered further and further, it's still Mineski's game, and they can still keep moving with it. I mean, the Aghanims up on Witch Doctor would be huge, and that's going to be out pretty soon. Brew, if he wants to buy out for it, will have his Ags as well.
They smoke, they hustle towards the north. They grab an Invis Rune. There was no ward there to see the brief pop right there, so JR don't know this is happening. They need to start playing it extra safe. MLG is pulled back, but oh no. Oh boy. They jump in, they see that core, that dark horse hope of JR. They eat him on up. Yummy, yummy in my tummy, says Yaj as he grabs it up on his Doom. Poor little Dragon Knight. Oh, Johnny as well. Oh, Jesus. He runs up and above, quickly blinks out. They won't be able to catch him here, so he does make a swift escape. And your split-pushing Centaur is still doing work down on the south. Oh, this is getting interesting real quick. And now Johnny's also going to come down here, and they're just going to try to go for some sort of trade or side push here while pressure from Mineski continues on the top.
Up top as well, Tinker, he's going to get jumped on immediately. Great movement from Yaj, but he doesn't have the Doom to guarantee it. So if Johnny can get the Rayon Blink off, now's the time. And oh, just waits for it to cool down. He's actually able to get out of that, which, generally speaking, would never happen. But because the Doom is running his Wolf passive, as well as having the Doom on cooldown, he just really doesn't have a way to lock down the Tinker.
Is under attack.
Fortunate stuff, banking on the extra bit of crit and extra bit of damage right there as they make a go here at this tier 2. Pressure still continues on the bottom. A wounded Centaur, though, has to pull back for now as they'll take some farm on the way out, but they hold strong as Morphling and Rubric are down here. There's your tier 2. It is going to fall, and the graph begins to climb up. What was once about a 4,500 to 5K net worth lead for JR is going right back towards Mineski now, and Mineski with the stronger late game are very happy with the turn of the tide in this game right now. They're just going to hold it as long as possible, and for JR, they're going to have to try out pulling some new tactics, a new game plan, and if that's split pushing, you know, we'll see. Oh god, Johnny jumps in, Morphling's going to see him, pulls out Rocket, but has to be quite careful here to not overextend himself like he's done previously. A blinking Rubik can jump right in, catch him out, and Morphling will be able to follow it up, but they do play it a little extra safe for now.
Yeah, but now we're seeing the two Aghanims come out, and this Aghanims for Brewmaster is a lot more relevant against this Tinker than what we have seen in 6.81. In 6.81, the universal damage would still damage the Earth Panda, and you had to be extremely careful how you use the Brewlings. But in this case, you can just go on forth, and the only thing he has to worry about is a little bit of Big Blue Dragon Cleave from MLG22, who just isn't farmed enough for that to be the big difference. He gets a double stack here, that's all nice and dandy, but it's a 100-second cooldown left on his Elder Dragon form just trying to farm, and they're going to be pushing in trying to use this Aegis in this next few minutes. So I really feel this isn't really the time to be farming up those items. You should have had them earlier, and it should have been a lot less as far as
Radiant's top
I don't know,
tower
unrequited
is under attack.
just throws. It's brutal to
Dire's
watch,
bottom
honestly.
tower is under attack.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Shadow Blade was cute and all, and it got him a couple of quick kills, which is nice, but
Dire's
now he's
bottom
desperately
tower has fallen.
throwing together a BKB,
Radiant
but
structures
I
are
don't know if it's going to be
fortified.
too little too late at this point, as he's been a prime target of that Doom still,
Dire's bottom
and he already
tower
used
is
his
under
dragon
attack.
form now, so they don't even going
Radiant's
to
top
have that
tower
to
is
use
under
in the
attack.
upcoming engagement, so they're going to have to
Dire's
just continue to add
structures
pressure
are
elsewhere.
fortified.
More than likely, they're going to lose this tier 2 here on the bottom, while Johnny tries to get
Radiant's
something
top
going in the
tower
mid
has
lane,
fallen.
and that side-pushing Centaur gets work done on the top. They clear out the tier 2
Radiant's
there,
middle tower
but
is under
still,
attack.
we'll see as Mineski, they might feel confident making a push if they want, given that ultimate is going to be on cooldown, but they're not. Morphling actually pulls back. He does leave a replicate here, though, in case maybe he wants to make a swift return, just relieving the pressure that is coming in from the top lane. But, I mean, we'll have to see here as
Radiant's
JR
middle
might need
tower
to start
is under
considering how
attack.
strong their high ground defense is, as slowly Mineski are working towards the JR baselines and might consider a high ground push in the near future.
Yeah. At the very least, the BKB is still a limiting factor on Morphling. You can't buy it back anytime soon, so even when he gets 6 slotted, they still have ways to manage him, with maybe Hex being the next pickup after Bloodstone for Johnny. But yeah, for right now, they're just BOTing all around the map, trying to get control, and hopefully not getting baited into that bottom lane. Oh, here it goes. Oh, he keeps canceling it. He's toying with him. He knows what's going on because of this Observer Ward on the high ground recently placed, and he is just trying to keep them occupied without risking anything.
Yeah, that Obs Ward, I mean, most of these teams are not even really familiar quite yet with the new ward spots. Maybe they're not, looking to deward it just yet, but they leave out that bottom lane. They see the jukes, the drives, the Sykes coming from that Tinker. He throws down his heavy March Foundation here in the mid lane to relieve as much pressure, which they're not doing a bad job of. They're trying their best to keep the creeps on the other side of the river and not allow anyone to come towards the base, and just trying to take what time they can to build up that farm. But the question will always remain is if they're going to be able to build enough farm to contest this Morphling, who has now got his Manta and 1,500 gold available and already invested in that ultimate orb. This is going to get scary quick. I imagine this is the start of a Scotty for Jacko.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually no other item he could be going other than the sheep stick, which you generally won't see on the Morphling. So in this position, Scotty is going to be extremely legit for limiting the Dragonite, who already is a hero that's limited by attack speed. Like, you see him build items like Shadow Blade, Treads, Maelstrom, Mjolnir. Oh, opening up.
Yep, right there you're seeing it. MLG gets caught out again and quickly taken down. There's that Doom, which scoffs at your BKB, sir, as they quickly take him down again. 2 times now he's been caught out in his own jungle, and now they're going to just look to open up here as he does not have a buyback, and he's got a full minute before he's going to return back into the fray. So as they continue to go on, there's split push happening from the top. It's going to be VS caught out. There's your death ward. They're going to pull her right back in. She's down as well. No buyback for her. Centaur all by his lonesome, blinking all the way back. Does this guy even have a TP? He does, but he's not looking to double back just yet as Mineski continue to creep down this mid lane. And now without their Dragon Knight and only Johnny to lay it down the law, is going to start putting down the Marchers. And hoping that they could just stand strong for now. Blinking in his Doom. Big damage. Big damage! Woo-hoo-hoo! A little close for comfort there, Doom, as he actually has to pop his BKB and back up. As he just felt very confident moving into the base, but gotta be careful there, my friend.
Yeah, was just looking for a quick, easy pick off, but instead got a little bit more than he could chew. Luckily, this Skywrath is still on level 14, so doesn't get chunked down just yet. As well, the E-Blade is not up for the Tinker. I'm not even sure if Johnny will go with this route at this time. Maybe the Hex would be better, but, whatever. In this case, that's just not enough damage. The Vengeful Spirit did get picked off on the top lane. It wasn't really a big deal there. It just Death Ward's a short cooldown to commit, and Rubik is, with this Blink and Force Staff, a really hard one to avoid. Like, he can get in that Blink Telekinesis time and time again, and it's becoming more and more difficult for them to evade certain deaths. So, Roche respawning just about now. This is going to be the point of contention for both sides, as I think, honestly, like, if Mineski take this, they almost cinch the win, and Johnny's Revenge, if they don't take this, it's just not going to look good. They really need this to stay in the game.
I think they know that, as they've already made their move towards the very cramped Roche pit here, and they double on in. As you see, they have no vision right now. Mineski, they don't know this is happening quite yet. I mean, they have a gathering up here at the top, and they could beeline it there, but this is going to fall so quick. Your wave, your medallion leaves Roche pretty weak right now, and they're quickly trying to burst it down, and I think they're going to get it. So this is a nice promising turn here for JR, as if they did hand this over, it could have been very, very devastating. They get what they can, they quickly leave, because they know Mineski's en route. Doom leading out the front, pulls out the Shivas and sees just a lonely TP, and is like, dang, we're too late, boys. And now they go on through. Centaur's nearby. Now Centaur is a big boy himself. He's got his heart complete, 3.2k life. He can take a lot of punishment as he tries to, what looks like, create space or divert attention elsewhere, as he just hides here behind as Johnny comes in from the top, trying to split push on his Tinker as much as possible.
And they do have this nice little cliff ward, though, scouting out the movements of the Tinker on the high, or the top lane, so that's going to make sure that if he is in that tree line, they can blink Shivas and Doom. And although the passive aspect of the Aghanim Scepter that we were talking about early on in this game isn't going to be that impactful here, the fact that it has a permanent duration is huge against somebody that sticks themselves in the tree line over and over again. Just one Doom with a Tinker that's caught in the trees, and that's game for him. Like, that, he can't do anything. Of course, he does have buyback, and the gold loss on death isn't that bad because of Bloodstone, but he really doesn't want to die here. He needs to build his charges up to equal his level so they can get the instant respawn. The reason the Tinkers go Bloodstone against Doom is because fighting in between the Dooms is really, really easy. Once he commits the Doom, if you can come back with a second life and instant respawn and BOT back into the fight, you're golden. You really are. And of course, on top of that, you can also rearm your suicide, which is pretty cool. But we see the Doom coming out on Polasan, and although he is very beefy indeed, this is a permanent ultimate.
Yeah.
He cannot avoid it, and he is going to be going down.
Yeah, this is no problem. Rubik knows that it's just going to happen. There's the inevitable, as he will fall. And they make quick work of who is supposed to be the big beefcake for JR. It looks like nothing right there, but your Doom is going to be on cooldown. I don't know if this is going to prompt anything from JR to try to go more aggressive as they lay out some more wards here along the Mineski Ancient side and then pull on back. And Johnny continues to put in the muscle work, trying to get some side push happening here. He's got 3.2k. I imagine he's going to reserve a share of that gold for buyback in case things do go awry, as that could happen sooner than later. He's coming in and creeping towards the base is Mineski. Leading out the front is your replicate. Wow, that was... I saw him replicate in, and I don't know what the hell happened. Skyrat just went down.
Yeah, that was just absolutely
From the
insane.
top.
1,500 damage from the Morphling almost instantly, and they
Dire's
just don't
bottom
have the
tower
answer
is
right
under
now. This
attack.
is Jocko
Dire's
farmed up,
structures are
late game
fortified.
Morphling right here. They're on the front line. They don't have the answers to deal with it. They try to keep marching, but now it goes into Brew.
Yeah, they jump on in. They're trying to get a hold of Sharky. They're not going to get so lucky with this one. Morph has one thing in mind, and that's taking down Rack. They want this win. They want to be able to come back even at the end of the night if possible. So they take down one Rack. They take down a tier 3. They cut what they can, and they move on out. Johnny, don't get over aggressive, buddy. He moves on in and tries to get them on the way out. Brew, nice TP, but here comes the Stampede. They jump on forward, Mystic Flare. They're trying to burst down Jacko. But Jacko, they manage to fire back. They take down Vengeful. This guy's a man. Jumps on back, takes down the Centaur, and he goes down. Dragon Knight shortly going to come right back onto this one, but he quickly gets thrown up and back. No more Dragon Form for him. Another casualty on the deck as the Centaur as he goes down. And it's all Mineski right now. They don't even lose their Morphling, as only the Doom is the one to hit the deck. Morphling goes right back to base, heals up, and will return right back into the fight on the back of that replicate. And they move on in, and they will just finish what they started, cleaning out the second racks, and if possible, maybe seeing if they could take down this Tinker, as he and Winter are the only ones left to try to survive.
Dire's middle
So
tower
for
is under
JR, oh boy, there they go. They jump in, they lift up, and they do zap him back. He's very low. He has to TP back to base. Skywrath Mage can't offer a whole lot. Ancient Seal throws out another Mystic Flare, but that Force Staff is going to save him from any additional damage. But by this point, they are getting pretty swole, and that Mystic Flare is not going to be doing as much damage as it once was. That's pretty much the story of this game, as the momentum was well in JR's favor when they had control, but a couple of sour fights allows the opportunity for Mineski in their late game to come back.
Yeah, and a lot of people look at this game and say this is 6.82 at work, and in a way it is. Obviously the comeback goal was a factor, but it was also Johnny's Revenge that gave these openings to Mineski, and really Dota 2 is a game about exploiting your opponent's mistakes, taking advantage of it, finding those missteps in positioning, and knowing that they're not baits, going in, taking the opportunity, and bringing your opposition down. And it's happened time and time again for us, in some cases for the Centaur. He's obviously very confident with his HP pool, but a lot of
They
times...
know Johnny's there. There's that ward already doing its work, and Johnny's done. They see you doing your silly little Tinker antics that we're all familiar with, and he gets scouted out there on the side, and there's just no chance for him. So he just quickly goes down. He does have buyback and a lower-ish cooldown because of his Bloodstone, but still, just more farm, more pickoffs from Mineski to just bull rush their way towards the base and just kind of try to put a lid on this game.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think this would be an okay Tinker patch if we hadn't had just the dominant
Radiant's
reign of
bottom
Tinker
tower
for the
is
past
under
couple of
attack.
months. Like, if we hadn't seen
Radiant structures
1,000
are
different Tinkers
fortified.
play exactly this way, and pro players hadn't for a very long period of time,
Radiant's
then
bottom
we'd be
tower
looking at a
has
different
fallen.
game right now. But because people are so familiar with how the Tinker plays, they're just able to counteract it, able to eat these wards off, able to spread their web across the map in just the right way to find those pickoffs. And as a result, Johnny, he's just been set back so many times. He's now buying out for the E-Blade. Has to be very careful how he spends his gold there. And yeah, he does have that extra little umph of burst, but we've seen this Force Staff come into play. We've seen the Primal Splits come into play. The BKBs, obviously. There's a lot of ways to deal with it, even with this projectile-based Ethereal Blade coming online. And again, this Observer Ward down here gives them the opening they need if they want to go on bottom.
And we'll see if that's going to be the case. Centaur did do more of that split push action. He actually completed out that tier 3 inside the base. forced Jacko to rotate down there. He just runs out with the Stampede and pulls out his BKB just to get away from that one. So it relieves pressure from the top for a bit, but now we'll see what he can pull out here. His Stampede is going to be up and available for this go. Early March is going to drop, and we'll see if Mineski can try to break high ground and finish these racks that are now exposed in the bottom lane. Doom goes in, pops his BKB, pops his Shivas, and trying to scurry them back, and now Morphling gets to open up on these racks. Jump in from Boom, pulls out the clap and the split, and now they put their Doom over onto that Dragon Knight, who now is going to be caught out. Sharky desperately gets the swap out to save, but he ends up going down. There's your telekinesis lift on MLG. MLG going to be taken down. Fateful right there at the end to clean it all up. Death Ward going to full duration right there to clean up. Johnny is just eating it right there, and he is going to end up going down. No more buyback for him, and this might be it for JR. They could not hold their base. It was just a matter of time. Mineski have everything they could want to move on through. One of their last standing right now, their Centaur down to half life, and he just can't get anywhere at this point. Slowly staggering, trying to get back into his fountain. They earn everything possible. The Shivas, can he make it in? He can't. He is down. Mega kill streak right there for Joven. They want winner. Winner falls. That's a full 5-man takedown.
This is the beauty right here. You look at his agility and his strength. He's able to run full agi because of his 5 defensive items. Doesn't have Scotty, Satanic, BKB, Manta, and Lincoln's. Any other hero, he'd just be a walking health bar. He would be useless. But Morphling can go full agi, go as offensive as he needs to make his illusions make the impact. He pushes down the racks while his teammates do the work, and in the end, JR they played with their food a little too long, and in the end, it's going to be the comeback swing for Mineski. Well earned for them.
One of the last things you wanted to do in this matchup right here was allow the opportunity for that Morphling to be able to bring it back for Mineski, and for a long period in that mid game, it looked like it was all promising for JR. They just held strong control, had a nice about 5K net worth lead, and were just going to start marching their way down the promised land. But things went bad. 2 fights later, you see Brewmaster pick up and complete instantly his BKB and the early makings of his Agnums, and for everyone else it just got worse and worse. All their items came on. Dragon Knight was just not there to pull it together for his team, given there was a pressure on him being the stand-in today. But unfortunately, JR just couldn't get it done, and Mineski do end up going 1-1 tonight. But that's it, folks. That's our 4th game tonight here for the Summit 2C qualifier. We had a lot of action-packed Dota games for you, but as you can hear by my voice, we are done for now. So thank you so much for coming by and sticking out. If you haven't already purchased a ticket, only $9.99 gets you 4 different regions of Dota action, plus the main tournament itself and the LAN, and a sweet little Husky Courier puppy. If you like what you heard, you can catch me over on Twitter at CoddleGuy. And my good friend Blaze, thank you so much for joining me as my co-caster through all 4 matches. Catch him over on his Twitter at BlazeCasting. Folks, it's been great. If you like music, feel free to hang around and socialize all you want. I'll be around for a bit. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening.